Alright guys, it's been a minute since I did the last entry, the last vlog. The last one was after Dubai and honestly, yeah, like after Dubai we went straight into not straight into digging, but then we went for the show in Taiwan, and then after Taiwan, then we went into digging. So I want to do a quick recap from Dubai onwards on what happened. And another thing I want to touch on this video is how it actually feels like being sub 5% body fat. What are the prices to pay for that? What is the actual feeling? And there's no better time than like explaining that while I'm in that state, right? Like when I'm in the off season, it's probably a little bit harder explaining it compared to like right now how I'm like how I'm feeling. So yeah, after Dubai we went straight into boom back into dieting. It's yeah, it was still such an amazing show. Every show was amazing. Also Taiwan. So after Dubai, 2 weeks later, went to the Taiwan show, and definitely much better package in Taiwan than from Dubai. And Taiwan was amazing. It was my first ever time in Taiwan. It is such a beautiful country. So nice. And that is the thing, like same with Dubai. It's definitely one of the spots now I want to visit in my off season, especially Dubai, because you can do so many activities there. So that is like one, I think the only thing which is always like when I'm in contest prep, I'm like, I don't have my freedom fully. That is the only thing which I don't want to say bothering me, but it's like the hunger is fine. Okay, like the low energy is definitely also very hard, but like it's like the freedom, right? Like when I'm in my off season, I can do way more stuff. So Dubai is a great spot for that. Taiwan was again very amazing. My flight got also cancelled for Taiwan. Who, if you watched my last video in Dubai, my flight didn't get cancelled, but my payment wasn't accepted, so it was in my junk folder. Found out 1 day before, booked another flight. Taiwan though, there was a typhoon, and I checked like on the day if the flight is fine, all of it, everything fine. I didn't get an email. I went to the airport, boom, on the counter, your flight got cancelled. Do you want to have a flight in the next 2 weeks? They asked me. I was like, I have a very, very important meeting in, I think it was 3 days out or 2 days out. And yeah, and then I talked with Kyle, a friend of mine. He's also like he was like in Dubai, and he told me, Dirk, like, check more expensive airlines. And that is one big tip I can give you guys. Don't fly budget airlines, especially during contest prep. I didn't even know it was a budget airline. I'm like usually very like, hey, I went on Skyscanner, I had just the best flight. Oh, it seems like a good time. And then one day out, I was actually checking also the airline, and they had very bad ratings. And I was like, okay, Dirk, like sometimes I'm too easygoing with that stuff. Like I need to check, see some reviews, how that actually is, like the airline, and then no budget airlines. And I went with like China Airlines, much better airline, and it wasn't cancelled. So he told me, oh, go with a better. And then I walked at the airport, like to that other airline, and 3 hours from there the flight was going. They say, I asked, is the flight cancelled? No. And then I was on the spot, booked the flight, and boom. And I still wait for both refunds, so it takes ages to get the refund. Still from Dubai, didn't got it yet. And then I get another refund from Taiwan. I hope it will work out. And then boom, went to Taiwan. Everything's super amazing, super venue. Like the production was, if you saw my video, like on that wheel, it was just phenomenal. Great show, great show. So here comes the little thing now. Peak week for Dubai went amazing, everything perfectly as planned. And Taiwan, we went a little bit too conservative, so I was a little bit flat. I wasn't able to get a pump in. And that already got me a little worried. I was like, and I started pumping up way too early, like wow, like 1 hour or 90 minutes out, because again, like Taiwan was like I need to do a better job with like being a little more organized sometimes. So for Germany now, 6 days out. The big one is with the pump up as well. I make sure I start pumping up like 10-15 minutes before. I make sure, like, I check the schedule. I look who's up there right now, so I don't start coming up too early. And the peak is much also different again. So yeah, but that comes at the end with Germany. And yeah, I go also a little flat and like a little bit, not too much. Like you can definitely see it on my back a little bit. And yeah, nevertheless, I still won. I still won the pro show, which is amazing. Amazing. It was a tough lineup, man. Very, very, very tough. Very tough. So yeah, with Grant, and I'm seeing him again at Worlds in Boston. Super excited. Like he's like bringing also his most conditioned best package ever. So after Taiwan, we digged pretty hard until now. So it's a total of, so Taiwan 5th October, so roughly like 3 weeks of digging. And I can see it now on the peak week, I lost around 1 more kg. And at this point, I was very lean at Taiwan already. Very lean. 1 kg of body fat. Just like that is the same thing with like being a highly advanced lifter and gaining a kg of muscle mass. It's insane, the visual difference, especially for someone like me who's a little smaller framed. 1 kg of body fat at this stage it's a night and day difference. So it's going to be amazing. So yeah, digging was very hard. I think the hardest dig by far I ever did in my life. And I wouldn't be capable of doing that never in my first prep, also not in my second prep. And what I wanted to cover up here is like, as well, you need to know your current limits. So I know this was my final dig. If I would do another digging week now, it wouldn't be efficient. Like my body would fight back way too much. And then there comes the risk where you lose muscle mass and mentally also burn out, what we want to avoid. So every prep, and what I love about contest preps, like I see myself doing this until my 50s, and maybe once you do your 10th prep, then going through those super insane level. And that's like, it's like a video game for me. It's like every time I want to get better and better. And that's why I'm telling like everyone, like, hey, don't aim for that shredded glutes yet if it's your first prep. Like, where's the fun? Where's the fun if you directly beat the real game, like everything, right? And then most people would lose their why. Like my major why is progress. I always want to get better. And if I'm 100, like, and I don't think this will ever be possible, like 100 best ever version would be no fun. So how does it feel to be at 5% body fat or below that? Like last at WMBF Worlds, it was 3.4%, and I'm leaner than last. So I don't know. I don't really care too much of how accurate all of that is. So, okay, how it feels. So especially the last 2 weeks been extremely hard. And the thing is, the body is really like, the body doesn't want you to get as lean. Like it doesn't care like how shredded you look. It's just realizing right now, okay, you're about to die. Like in a way, it's like, hey, you're like very like what are you doing with me? Like your body isn't liking that. And a major thing I always realize getting that lean is like your priorities shift a lot. So hey, you need to do what you have to do, right? We need to do our work. We need to do still take care of our loved ones. We still need to clean the house. We still need to do basic things. So it is very important to have a priority list, like non-negotiables. Like again, right? That is work. Work can't suffer. It is the training. It is, for me, it's also like my house. Like I need to be clean. I don't want to live in a mess. Things like that. Still want to be friendly with people. Like all of that are non-negotiables, and that's extremely important. So you need to take all the clutter out because you have so little energy at some point. So that's probably also the reason why I stopped doing the vlogs a little bit, and I'm not regretting it, but I did a much better job than my first prep on it because I wasn't vlogging anything. So next prep, it will probably be a goal of mine to vlog, like record even more. And that is also a thing I started with the YouTube vlogs while I started prep. And when I continue doing it in my off season, the habit gets more and more and more and more ingrained. Same thing with like filming my training. I filmed every session at the gym, even though some days I didn't felt like filming, but the habit is so deeply ingrained that it feels easy. And I think it will be the same with vlogs and stuff, right? So, and if I continue that in the off season, then next prep it will be easier to record even more. So it was a little energy conserving. I stopped like for 2 weeks now. I stopped taking on new clients because that's also at this point very energy training. So I just focus on my current clients because that's the main priority. And and also with podcasts and stuff, like I don't have the energy for that. So that is like those things where I'm like, hey, I can't do that right now. And that's very important that like you just do the necessary. And and that is the thing, because your body is telling you at some point just get body fat back on. Like even when it comes to like, hey, work, training, and so on, you get like a sense of like, I don't want to say not caring, but it becomes a little bit like less important to you. A lot of things, like that's how it feels to get like to those shredded levels. It's like it can be also very freeing, in my opinion, where it's like you really don't give a fuck about anything. Like you become very, it can be good and bad, very emotionless. It's like hey, if this or that happens, it doesn't hit you as hard. That is a big one. Like you become very very cold, extremely cold. And it can be very challenging if you are in a relationship, most likely, like because you need to communicate a lot with your partner. There is some ways to like still like force yourself to like, hey, still like keep care, make presents, listen, like all of those things, but it will be a little bit forced, a little bit. Like even being friendly to people, like it's at this 2 weeks, it was like sometimes I was like, I would just want to tell that guy, don't talk to me. But then like there's that discipline of like still staying true to your values and your principles. That's important. And even though like your instincts are telling you like a little bit of not doing that. So that is probably a very challenging thing where we become very cold, emotionless. And that is a big one, because your body is just like, hey, that's why your libido is dying out like the last 2 weeks, like nothing. And that is the reason why, like all desires, like your body is like, right, we are, so that's why the human race is where it is right now. Like also like hate like that, like desire to survive is so big. And that is a major, one. And I would say like a lot of people probably imagine like Dirk, like, hey, like the hunger, the cravings, this must be so hard. But I tell you, that's super easy. Like hunger I just experienced recently, like for like a week, 2 weeks, where I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm actually feeling hunger. And hunger for me is like a feeling like in the stomach, in a way. Not crave, like cravings I don't really have even until now, because I know food is there always. Like once I'm done prep, like food is in abundance. But the hunger is definitely a little bit what comes, but that's easy to deal with. The hardest part is definitely the low energy. And what I mean by low energy, like this prep is like, wow, like again, that is like something you can only handle when you're very advanced, like to get into those shredded levels where I'm at right now, where everything is managed. My days, like my days are so managed, very monk-like, where wake up like very very early, go to bed very early. I'm fortunate to like be a professional athlete, also now winning quite good prize money from the shows, being also my online coaching business is growing very good. So I'm very fortunate that I can design my days as I want to. Like I can work when I want, train when I want, eat when I want. So this is definitely helping me in regards to getting that shredded, because I can conserve even more energy. But even that is like for me, like that was like a big one. It was very important that I have very good routines and habits, so I can conserve all the energy, because then you get so low, where I'm telling you that there's like weird things you're going to do, like your body is going to do to conserve energy. Like one thing sounds weird, but like let's say I go on the toilet, and usually I always like I close it. But now the last week I was not always closing it because I'm like it costs me too much energy to always open the toilet. So I keep it always open, especially during the night. Or yeah, or just like picking stuff up, like getting up from the couch gets so much harder. Like even like playing video games. And I play right now the new Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and at some point, like my fingers, like you know when you do that fast tapping, I'm like I don't want to do that. That's too hard right now. Or if I walk, instead of like walking like this, I tap myself like walking a little like this. But then I'm like, nah, I want to keep my knee somewhat up. And there's so weird ways of like how the body wants to conserve energy. And yeah, like the energy, that's the every prep the hardest part. But this time, wow, like so low where yeah, it's always the hardest. And but still getting used to it. It's the same like with training, right? Like the more we get it, it's like it's very hard, but it doesn't feel as hard. We manage it, right? Like we are learning to manage it, and still super important to especially conserve muscle mass and health. Again, it's like conserving energy. You need to have a priority list. You need what is the non-negotiables, and everything else needs to go out. Like for me, I became a monk, like very like I stopped socializing at all, which is not healthy long term as well. Like I wasn't seeing people like really like I mean some still like barely like for the last 2 months. Like I become very like very introverted, extremely introverted, where yeah I can't go out to the bar, I can't meet new people. And that's again why I didn't took clients on the last 2 weeks, because it cost me so much energy, because I'm in more of an, I would say, ambivert in my off season, but deep into prep very much introvert. So getting to know new people, it's just energy training for me at this stage. And there I know like, hey, I can't do this, or yeah, like being very aware, like I'm meditating now for over 10 years, which also this prep helped me so much, of like having self-awareness, of like knowing what is training your energy. And some things we still need to do during prep, right? Like yeah, training is still training my energy, even work a little bit like it's training my energy, but that's what we have to do. But then we need to know like what is training my energy unnecessarily, and what is training my energy a lot, right? If I would go to like the bars or clubs and stuff, it would be so energy training where I would sabotage myself. And yeah, there we need to be aware of that. So yeah, I would say that is probably the hardest part, is like, yeah, it's like the energy. And that is like, yeah, like, that's how it feels. Like another thing is as well, like every prep is a nice opportunity to get to know yourself better. So I become much more spiritual in a way in every prep. Like I reflect more. And especially with my morning walks that I really laughed about, like I did morning walks at like 4 or 5 a.m. And one of my great habits I developed this prep, what I want to also keep in my off season, is like having much less, yeah, phone usage. Like the first 1 or 2 hours of the day, no, actually like even more, like yeah, 2 hours. I don't use social media, nothing. Like wake up, like I meditate for 10-15 minutes. I go for a walk for like 30-45 minutes without my phone. I'm just walking with my thoughts and with my feelings. And this was very wow, very therapeutic, like very good in a way. And that's what I want to keep up that off season, which like wow, we reflect, we grow from that. And yeah, like that was a big one in a way. It's like we like very much outside of bodybuilding. It's like prep is like I mean like yeah, like in a way, in a spiritual sense of like yeah, being more present, being more aware, putting ourselves in like yeah, like self-chosen suffering, which is so important. Because nowadays, right, like especially with social media, with everything, like everything we can have with a click of a button, dopamine is always there. And like a big one with contest prep is like yeah, it's like a simulation of like putting yourself in a yeah, in a shit position, like feeling a little shit. And I think that's important. A lot of people, that's why it's also, I think like bodybuilding, like for a lot of people, it's hard at the beginning, so hard, because people are so used for comfort all the time, and putting yourself in those extremely uncomfortable stages is very healing. And big why I'm doing prep is not because I just enjoy it. I'm very ambitious. I want to, like, again, I want to be my best version. I also want to, like, I want to win shows. It's fun for me. But another big one is like the healing of it, of like the spiritual thing on this side as well, of like growing just so much outside of bodybuilding for me. And yeah, like that is honestly mostly like the big parts of like how it feels. The training gets extremely hard as well. I got my training down to 3 days training for the digging since Taiwan. 3 days, which was a game changer. Again, conserving energy. I'm a big believer of like most people do way too much in the prep. Like maintaining muscle mass, I do believe way less volume than we think we need. As long as we keep the intensity high, we are good. And that is the thing, like most people, they're scared. They do way too much. And then by doing way too much, the fatigue is much higher. And by much higher fatigue, the stuff like, yeah, like the energy will be even lower, and then you can't even dig that far. And the thing is, like, to get that shredded, it's only like at some point your body is shutting everything down, and you want to avoid it as long as possible. So that's why conserving the energy, you can get to those stages where, yeah, that's like you still have to go into a dark place a little bit, but only by, yeah, like managing the energy, your body, like you will be able to get there. And that was such a big one, this prep for me. I've never been able to manage my energy as good as this one. And yeah, I take always mental notes, always experiences. We'll keep that up for the prep after this one. And yeah, each time it's getting yeah, much better. So peak week for Germany started. 6 days out. I'm flying to Germany today. It is 5 a.m. in the morning. And yeah, my sleep this week especially is like also starting, yeah, I mean, the like little hit. It's very interesting. Like for instance, tonight I woke up at 1 a.m. Went to bed at 9. Woke up at 1 a.m. My body was like, get up, get up, get up. And it took me another hour to fall back asleep. And then I checked my watch again, it's 2 a.m. And I'm like, I was so close of getting up at 2 a.m. But I was, I have such a long flight today. But then I woke up at 4 a.m. and then I was getting up. So yeah, like the sleep is like, you wake up like once or twice a night where you like just ready to get up. It's, yeah, the sleep is like definitely always, it's a big one. So yeah, peak for Germany will be different than Taiwan with like more carbs in a way. And yeah, will be the most shredded version ever. I can't wait. I might be a very slight bit flat for this show, but it's worth the compromise for me because I dig harder actually than planned. We, like Alberto and me, we planned of like at the beginning, like, hey, doing maybe like a 10-day kind of peak week, but now like I want to be like, or we we have, yeah, like good chances, opportunities, all of that, especially for worlds where, yeah, like I need to have that freak look, that Point Whitaker kind of like you can't look away kind of shredded look, and all the other things on top of it. So yeah, like, yeah, pushing limits, and very happy. Like, hey, it was a hard week, but it wasn't a week where I'm like unnecessarily digging, right? That is, if I would now dig more, it would probably be not worth it, right? You need to know of like, once it's just like a muscle loss kind of thing, or once it's like, hey, just very hard, but you still keep most of the muscle there. So yeah, that will be the plan. And then for Worlds, eating at maintenance, and the best version ever for Worlds in 3 weeks time, I believe, in Boston. And yeah, I give my best to keep it up from here, with also documenting it more again, especially now since the energy will come more back with like eating more maintenance calories. And this will be one mission for me, like keeping more up with the content here as well, of documenting it, since my energy will be better. My hunger will be higher than ever. That is how it goes. Usually when you dig, your hunger is kind of shut in a way. Just the energy is super low, but once you eat up, the hunger goes up because your body is like, hey, we're releasing all those hormones to make you eat more. So will be a lot of self-control, a lot of discipline, but the why is so big. I don't give a shit about eating 4,000-5,000 calories right now to feel good in that moment, because the consequences are always important. When you have a desire to binge, just think about what are the consequences. Not worth it at all. Leaving it here, guys. WMF Germany. Will try my best to vlog that one. We'll see you there. Peace out.